right, take a look at this headline. David Pine wrote this. Trump pivots back to America first with new Israel-Iran war ceasefire deal. President Donald Trump attacks Israel for flagrantly violating the ceasefire. His White House bristles from leak of top-secret DIA battle damage assessment showing no Iran nuke sites were destroyed. David Pine's article tonight. Very important because it shows us that apparently even neocons, some of the neocons, I'm guessing, in the Trump circles will gladly leak White House assessments in order to stir things up so they can be sure to get us going into another attack and broader level there in Iran. But then we also have the issue of regime change. I'm not for America doing that, but Iranians, where are they at? We're getting reports now that over 500 have been arrested in Iran, many of them Jews arrested in Iran. And by the way, when you talk about doing a ceasefire deal and having lasting peace, how do you do that with someone like the Khomeini, the quote supreme leader, who is just about as debased, demonic, disgusting piece of human trash to ever walk the planet? Do you guys realize, I know this is a smart audience, so you probably do, but do you think the simpletons that watch Fox News and digest that day in and day out? I mean, I'm not saying that some of you or I myself don't occasionally stop in to see what they're saying over there. But the people that just digest Fox News as the gospel day in and day out, so simple. I mean, Brian Kilmeade thinks these airplanes, these B-52s are taken off of aircraft carriers, for Pete's sake. McInerney or McCaney, what's her name? McKaylee or McCallie or who cares? What is it? What? McInerney? Something like that. Do we really care? No, we really don't. If I cared, I'd actually respect her enough to learn her name, but I don't care. But she thinks, oh, we just got to swoop in with one plane and take care of this. These are the simpletons at Fox News. So I wonder if they realize this. Do they know that the Khomeini, do the neocons, and all these other people out there realize, and those who want to make peace with Iran, do you realize who you're trying to make peace with? The man has written a book on how to sexually molest infants. Are you ready for this? No, of course you're not. But this is what you need to know, because I don't think Fox Cartoon Network will tell you this. Let's be joined by Anni Cyrus. Anni, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me back, Brannon.
Anni, what about this? What about the Khomeini? Is it true he wrote a book or a manual on how to molest, sexually assault infants?
Technically, he wrote a book in two formats. I very briefly went over it on your radio, but in two formats. One is for the clerics and imams, more technical. One is for average people to read and understand, but both same concept. And within that book, yes, there are chapters under the chapter of marriage and the rules and regulations. There are different parts that are very disturbing, but there's also the part that is allowing. So the exact code, is you can marry a girl under age of 9, even if she's still being breastfed, which makes her an infant. You can have sexual intercourse, but this list of sexual abuse is allowed.
Don't show her my screen because it's got all of her personal stuff on it. But I asked her to translate it and send it over to us, okay? Don't show it, but let me just read it, guys, right? This is the translation. Ayatollah Khomeini, Volume 2, section on marriage. Ready for this? Quote, a man can marry a girl younger than 9 years of age, even a baby still being breastfed, but he's not allowed to have sexual intercourse with her while she is under 9. Other forms of sexual pleasure, such as touching with lust, embracing, and thighing, are permitted. If the girl is injured as a result, the man must provide her provide for her care for the rest of her life, end quote. Now, again, I don't want to get too graphic here, people, but do you understand what he's describing here? There was a word used in there that a lot of you maybe have never heard used in this manner, and what it even means. But let me tell you what it means. It means that a man can be involved in sexual behavior with an infant. And by the way, touching with lust, really? This is the former leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini. But these ideas in this worldview continues, right, Annie?
Absolutely. Even the current supreme leader, untouched. Every ruling of Khomeini's book, he approved of to carry on as the ruling of the country when he became. So even though it was originally written by Khomeini, Khomeini approved of, and it has been practiced to this day. So the author might have been Khomeini, but Khomeini is still following it to the T. Nothing has changed. So yes. And by the way, if you read the hadith narrated by Aisha herself, the words you're seeing in that fatwa by Khomeini, Brannon, there's a hadith that Aisha explains that Prophet didn't have intercourse with me until I was 9, but those terms are used through her own mouth, narrating that he did do those to me until from 6 to 9. And then at 9, he consummated the marriage. Again, proving that these mullahs aren't making things up. They are still following Muhammad. The ideology is rooted in everything we exposed here.
And the reason I'm bringing all this up tonight is to say these are the kind of people that I guess we're supposed to have a negotiated peace with, right? All right?
Yes.
You trust these people? You trust these people? Sexual deviants that are writing on how it is you can molest an infant, and you think these are the people you can coexist with and make peace with? Now, again, I got to be consistent. I'm not for doing regime change in America, for us to do it. I'm not for us to go over there and get involved. But I am saying, why did we not just let Benjamin Netanyahu loose? He said he could do it. He said he could do it on his own, unless he was lying and then gets involved and then screams to President Trump, come save me. But he said he could do it on his own. He said he had the commandos to do it. We should have backed off, let them do it. And now, I don't think most Americans realize the depths of perversion and demonic evilness of this regime. But keep in mind, Americans, now that we've gotten involved, as we have, these people over there, they're in charge, have their terror cells here, which is why it's being reported by ABC News tonight that the FBI is now moving a lot of their resources from deporting immigrants to fighting terror cells. So do we realize just who our enemy is? And I would say no. And we've been trying for how many decades here to tell the American people who the enemy is, to know the enemy, their worldview, their ideas, their philosophies, even down to their books on how you can molest and sexually molest infants. The American people don't know our enemy nor understand them unless you're a regular viewer of this program. But this is what you're not being told to other networks. And this is why I don't think this peace deal is going to hold. And if it does, it'll only be while Iran repairs, gets restocked, resupplies, and then does terrorism with their proxies. So what am I suggesting? I'm suggesting we should not have been calling off Benjamin Netanyahu's troops and Air Force from finishing the job. That's my opinion.
I 100% agree, and I will add this. Number one, how President Trump treated the situation this morning, making history to be the first president to drop words that shouldn't be dropped as a president, saying that Israel and Iran have fought for so long that they don't know what they're doing anymore, censored through my filter. It tells me that President Trump himself still doesn't understand that this isn't a fight over territory or border. Israel had no fight with Iran whatsoever until 46 years ago. Again, another Substack of mine showing the history of Iran under Pahlavi and Israel relation. He's making it as if Israel picked a fight with Iran out of the blue 12 days ago, and now Trump came in and put them in their place. That's undermining the depth of the Islamic movement inside Middle East. And another thing to say, not your audience, but Brannon, what you just described, not to undermine Khomeini's sickness and Islam's pervert mind of a prophet, but right here in America, we have child pornography going on, and Americans are still looking the other way. What makes you think they're going to care about what the Iranian mullahs are going to say about it?
Well, and you know what? That's a very good point, because guess what has gone on here in America? The same thing that the Ayatollah was teaching that we read has really been going on in America through Alfred Kinsey. Alfred Kinsey. You have a whole chapter on him in my book, Grave Influence. Alfred Kinsey, who is the father of the sex ed system in America, really, and the sexual revolution, sexuality of human male, sexuality of human female. Hollywood made a movie praising him, Alfred Kinsey. He believed children should be sexually active by age 6, right? His so-called researchers were involved in the sexual molestation of children as young as age 3 months of age. So, Annie, I don't know if you know all that, but you're dead right. No wonder America thinks we can make peace with these kind of people when we've been teaching the same ideology in America, making heroes of men like Alfred Kinsey, and letting him be the basis of the sex ed curriculum in America. And if people don't know what I'm talking about, there's a whole chapter documented in my 2009 book, Grave Influence. So maybe that's why we have people that think they can make peace with Iran and we can all get along, is because we don't understand there's more common in the worldview between these two groups than I like to admit, from America to Iran, when it comes to the way we view children.
Yes, I'm actually working on a research of the red-green axis depth of connection, and that is part of the research, that the reason we accepted Muslims in America very easily and freely to have child brides, and everything else that comes with them, female genital mutilation, is because part of the brainwash here started when we have the LGBTQ now having MAP on it, and for many years having child pornography become a very normal thing. Not everybody participates in it, but they are okay with it existing in America. The scary part is normalization on both sides of red-green again. And now, I don't even know if you want to go there with the topic, but, with New York shining a star and rising a star of red-green symbol in Queens, it's just the spread of it here is so terrifying. And when I watch people cheer what President Trump just did, the ceasefire I'm referring to, it just takes me back to, I don't know, maybe me and you haven't done enough, Brannon, because majority still thinks all of this is just fine. It's okay. It's not my kid. It's not my door. It's not my backyard. It's not my son joining the army. So it's okay.
All right, well, let me go to another report real quick tonight, Annie, and that is, so you don't, let me ask you this before I go to the next report. You don't think this is going to last, do you? Or you think it'll?
Absolutely. No.
It won't last?
No.
The ceasefire won't last?
No.
Okay. We're going to be right back with more. Annie has a new report up on this, by the way, at her website, which is liveuptofreedom.substack.com, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. When I come back, I want to talk to Annie about a report by Oversight Project. Cell phones of protesters pinging back to Iran and China. Wow. Again, maybe there's a reason why the FBI is moving more of their resources this evening, to dealing with terrorist cells in the U.S. Oh, by the way, they said they rounded up some of the Iranians, the worst of the worst. Well, why'd they just get them now? We'll be right back.
Two years ago, whatever was 100% of my traffic to my website, it's been crashed by 95%. That's stunning to me. Mostly Google has done it, but other actors as well. What's happening on a global basis, there's a war against free speech. It's not just an incidental thing, oh, we just want to shut somebody up. That's not it. This is an orchestrated, top-down war against free speech. All the things you have coming out of Worldview Tube and Weekend, etc., all of these things are expression of free speech. And I can dare say that their traffic has been hammered as well. If they're successful, these masters of tyranny, if these people are successful shutting down free speech, we're all dead at that point, basically, because that's where the killing is going to start. This is what's on the chopping block right now. The reason you look at this organization just is because you could get something out of it, right? You should look at this organization as an organization that needs to support just to keep free speech alive, period. Who are you going to turn to at this point if this voice was silenced? Where would you go? Newsmax? Give me a break. No. Fox News? No. So I want to encourage you, support the foundation, support Brannon's work here any way that you can.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Worldview Tube, Brannon Howse Live, worldviewtube.com. Tell all your family and friends about it. Don't forget, a great way to support yourself, your health, and us. Valor Grace, I take it each and every day. Powerful elixir. MelissaHouseBG.com, MelissaHouseBG.com. I think we have a lower third for that. Melissa House, BG. There it is. MelissaHouseBG.com. 80 clinical trials, folks. The real deal. The real deal. All right. I want to ask Annie about this before we go. First of all, take a look at this. This is an older map from the DEA. I wish they would update it. But this is area of influence of major Mexican transnational criminal organizations within the DEA field offices. Look at all that. Okay? These are, again, your major Mexican transnational criminal organizations. Now, what about ones that aren't Mexican? And we know that these groups are working together with the Islamists. We know that. Again, we're just trying to tell Americans what all this means, as tonight the FBI is moving more of their resources, according to ABC News. They're moving more of their agents from immigration enforcement to counterterrorism. What do they know that we don't know? What are they seeing? What are they hearing? Something's up. Why else would they be moving these? FBI shifting their agents from immigration enforcement to counterterrorism. And then we have to add another report to that night, and that comes from the Oversight Project. The Oversight Project has a report out tonight about cell phones that are pinging back to Iran and China. Cell phone locations link far-left protest organizations to Iran and China. Phones visiting the Answer Coalition and Party for Socialism and Liberation also visited Iran and the Chinese consulate. Well, there you go. We analyzed the data from devices visiting Answer's PSL's public San Francisco address. One device had 4 data points at the address, which appear to correspond to distinct visits separated by 1.5 years. The same device had 213 data points in Iran. If IP addresses associated with devices, Iranian data are registered to the Mobile Communication Company of Iran. This strongly supports that the device was in Iran and not spoofing itself on its location. Another device had data points at the Answer's PSL location and at a building next door, which appears to be unoccupied. This device also had 58 data points in the San Francisco consulate of the People's Republic of China. Annie, what do you make of this? The Mexican transnational groups around the country working with Islamists, I believe they are from everything I've been reading for years. And then now these cell phones tied to these street fighters pinging back to China and Iran. And then the FBI moving assets from immigration to dealing with this. Is something in the wind? Are they seeing something? Are they hearing something? What does all this tell you? And by the way, this has all apparently started since this little show kicked off in the Middle East.
I apologize as I'm going to sound anti-Trump again, but that's not the intention. You know, sometimes when the leader of the great power of America decide to not separate the line between presidential attitude versus I own a social media platform, so I'm going to say whatever I want because I own it, things could get a little out of control. And on top of that, it can get very confusing for its citizens. Let me be more clear. President Trump comes out, say, okay, ceasefire, congratulations, world, I did it. Give me the peace prize. Let's go. This is amazing. Then he comes out and says, Iran will never resume building their nuclear facilities or bomb, ever. And then comes out and say, last thing in their mind is nuclear right now. Then the U.S. representative at UN a few hours ago says, we have reached our limited objective, which was to slow down Iran's nuclear. A slowdown? We went from we blew everything up and ashes are left behind to they will never try again to they don't even think about nuclear to our own representative saying, oh no, our objective was just to push them back a little bit. When you mix all of that together, comes the situation for Americans where we have sleeper cells in America who have shown their colors. They have acted before. It's not like this is something new and, you know, you don't have any proof to back it up, Brannon. You have reported, I have reported on your show many times of a sleeper cells attacking. Hey, we started this year, 2025, New Year's Eve started with the sleeper cells, didn't it? Then you have the cartel and IRGC collaborating for over 4 years now. Todd Bensman has exclusively reported on that, so have I. And then you also have Islamic Republic of Iran, Russia, and China freely funding the destruction of America through our own borders, which you all went through all three of them. But the problem is, one, our leadership, regardless of a Republican, Democrat, and apparently even a MAGA leader, they tend to worry about ego, power, credit, some sort of prize, than genuinely facing facts, sitting down and saying, okay, this is a mess and I need to clean it up. And then our Americans, fellow Americans, most of them already said their narrative, Brannon. I can't tell you how many times today I have heard from conservative alternative media and Christian media saying, watch as they're going to do a false attack and then blame Iran for it. How do we clean that up when our own people are saying that Iran will never attack us? They're going to do a false attack and blame Iran for it. Like Iran is this innocent little country in the corner of Middle East doing its own thing, and we're just constantly blaming it for things. So at this point, this moment of this day, I am at a point of what you said a few weeks ago on your show, and I am out of arguments with it. Unfortunately, our fellow Americans are about to get what they deserve. Due to lack of willingness to learn, due to absolute denial that is more comfortable, and due to idolizing a flawed man who's making mistakes over and over, but we're not willing to call him out on it.
And if you do disagree, you get attacked by the MAGA crowd. You get demonetized, as they've done, taking thousands of dollars away from you because you've been attacked in false reports about your Facebook page. And Colonel Manus was talking tonight about how he's being attacked. People are just presenting the truth. But apparently some people can't handle the truth. They don't want the truth. They don't want the truth about their politicians. And they don't want the truth about Islam. They don't want the truth about terror cells in the country. They don't want any of this if it disrupts their life. Again, most people in America, including a lot of the MAGA crowd, excluding those that watch this broadcast, have put a governor on their brain, and they only want so much truth. I only want so much truth. Can I buy $5 of truth? Well, you need $1,000. No, I only want $5 worth of truth, because any more than that will interrupt my lifestyle, and ignorance is bliss.
Make sure that $5 is from the comfort zone category, please. Don't go outside of that. Anything that might hurt my comfort, anything that might require extra brain cells to process, I don't want it. You can't.
So anything that might interrupt my entertainment and my nihilism and my hedonism, I don't want. I'm too busy being entertained. I don't want anything to just kill my buzz and disrupt my vacations and my games and my sporting events. No, give me a $5 worth of truth. Anything above that, I don't want. They got a governor on their brain, and the Bible says, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. Now, let's put that in context. It's talking about the Bible. My people perish, and the Jewish people perish because of lack of knowledge from God, the Bible, the precepts of God, the teachings of God, right? But we can apply that within reason to Christians, to those who claim to be Christians. A nation can perish because it doesn't have enough knowledge, acquisition of truth, therefore it doesn't have enough wisdom, the application of that truth. And I'm sorry, you and I know, Annie, that many, many Christians in America are some of the most ignorant people we've met. That's not being mean or unkind. It's true. There's a lot of Christians that are very educated, very educated. There's a lot of non-Christians that are very educated up on what's happening. But we know that in the evangelical world, I know that. For years, I've known, in decades, some of the biggest opposition to what we were doing were from so-called evangelical Christians who did not want to know the truth and where it would call us names. A lot of the names, conspiracy theorists, all these names, came from so-called evangelicals, some of them evangelical pastors that I personally know. I can't tell you, I won't say who, but I know of an evangelical pastor that thought that what I was writing and saying for years was just over the top. And then the guy actually asked if I would give him 2 of my books, and I said, why? He said, I want to write a book similar to your 2 in one book without naming the names. Yeah, that's right. So we know that we've gotten in this mess largely because the church in America, Christians, that's the church, ecclesia called out ones, the church in America has done the same thing. They've put a governor on their brain, and they only want a little bit of God. They want to go to church, and they want to sing self-absorbed songs. They want to sing these feminized, self-absorbed songs. They want to get a thumping sound system, light show, a smoke machine in there. And then they want a feel-good, tickle my ears message from not a pastor that said, thus saith the Lord, teaches the Bible. They want pop psychology, how to have your best life now, make sure you're done by noon, and I'm out the back door. You know what? As you said, ideas have consequences. And now we don't understand the worldview war, the philosophies, the ideas. We don't understand why this is happening. And if you don't understand why, then you can't fight it. And that's why my wife and I started Worldview Weekends in February of 1993. Because people have to understand the worldview war. Your worldview is the foundation of your values. Your values are the foundation of your conduct. And yet most Americans have no idea what the 6 dominant worldviews are, which include Marxism, which include Islam. They don't. And now here we are, completely infiltrated within, trying to be good to our Jewish friends, to be a blessing to them, to help them, to defend them, but while also doing what's right by our own families, because he who does not provide for his family is worse than an infidel. And now you see how you and I and others that are trying to follow those biblical mandates find ourselves in the position we're in. I mean, we really are in a difficult spot because we're trying to help Israel, be a blessing to our Jewish friends in the Jewish state, but also defend our families. And we should have never even been put in this position. But we were because our pastors failed us. They didn't want to teach the hard truth. Our politicians failed us. They didn't want to speak the hard truth. Our media failed us because they lied to us. And they pushed the narrative. of the Uniparty, the globalist, the CIA. And it's hard to combat a false church, false teachers, false pastors, a corrupt media, and corrupt politicians. And then we're left here speaking truth again, being attacked by all sides because we're simply telling the truth. Annie?
I don't know if I can add anything. You said it so perfectly. The only thing I will add is for anyone who thinks what U.S. I heard this on a program saying President Trump was upset this morning because after everything we did for Israel in last few days, the minimum they could do for Trump was cooperation with ceasefire. Let me say something to the address of blessing our friends, Jewish friends in Israel. Sometimes a blessing is you not getting in the way. For anyone who's expecting Israel to show gratitude for what we did Saturday, don't forget what we did Monday. Okay? We just took away 12 days of amazing operation, almost 10 years of amazing planning, so our president could possibly be nominated for Peace Prize. There is nothing to be grateful for that.
No. LiveUpToFreedom.com, LiveUpToFreedom.com, and LiveUpToFreedom.substack.com, LiveUpToFreedom.substack.com. Annie, as always, thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much, Brannon. Stay safe.
You too, my friend. We'll be right back.
Looking for a trusted source to understand today's world through a Christian worldview? Worldview Tube is built on the 35 years of worldview books, columns, research, and high-profile interviews of Brannon Howse. Want to know more about Worldview Tube, its founder, history, team, and mission? Visit worldviewtube.com/about. That's worldviewtube.com/about. Worldview Tube is your source for understanding the times through the lens of a Christian worldview.
Nature has a rhythm, a quiet strength, a way of restoring, protecting, and renewing us. Wellness isn't just about how you feel today. It's the quiet choices you make for tomorrow. At myvitamin.com/worldview, we've made daily self-care simple. Quality vitamins, daily supplements, and targeted nutrition. myvitamin.com/worldview makes it easy. Pure ingredients thoughtfully combined, tailored for your body. Formulated by a doctor who has over 25 years of medical practice experience and is a certified functional medicine provider. Visit myvitamin.com/worldview today and take the next step towards strength, balance, and resilience. Discover the wide range of med packs made for you and your loved ones. What you nurture today becomes the strength you walk in tomorrow.